Now, I'm not going to say that the game is perfect or that it doesn't deserve some of the criticism that it's received, because it definitely does. But I would like to, encourage people to look at the game with a very critical mindset. And I would definitely I'm enjoying it so far. From what I've seen, it is a lot of fun. And I would encourage people to take it at face value, come into it with an open mind, and don't just take everything you hear as the official word on it. Anyway, all that to say that when it comes to the actual game itself, Ella Balinska, I know she's had a few roles in different movies, TV shows, stuff like that. I saw her in the Resident Evil movie, and I would say I'm a fan of kitsch, so I felt the Resident Evil movie was pretty kitschy as well. I think that's sort of the same with Forspoken. But anyway, she saw the negative discourse about the game and about the whole people talking about the cringy dialogue. I would say definitely when it comes to having authentic portrayals of Black women in games, this is not a good example of it from the writing team, from the production team. When I'm looking at the game, I can see the kind of the hallmarks of really cheesy Japanese RPG style production. And I have to say, if the production team had actually spent the effort up front to engage Black writers in the actual script writing and, bringing the backstory to life, I think it would have done a lot better. And so nobody's saying that that's not the case, but I think it takes a more critical eye to talk about these things than maybe what people were saying on the internet. But basically, for Ella, she says that she loves the gaming community for how committed they are to really getting in depth for each game that they play. I mean, there are going to be spoilers for this article, so I'm not gonna go through the entire article because I don't want, I know there are people here who plan to play the game. I think that she's very pragmatic in her approach to, how the game was received and perceived by people. And I think she's pretty mature about it as well. I would definitely say that, it's probably not going to get a sequel the way it was perceived, but she talks a little bit about the game. She talks about what she's brought to it, and some of her own responses to the sort of the kind of eyebrow raising dialogue and stuff like that. For me, I thought the dialogue so far was pretty funny. I like some of the quips that she has with the cuff and vice versa. I do feel like Frey does swear like a sailor, but then so does Ellie in The Last of Us. But yeah, she's they actually touch on that as well. They talk about Ellie is just as vulgar, but there's plenty of people who would go to bat for Ellie. I think definitely it's true that we'll get into another article later that explains how the writing team really didn't engage Black people at the start. They did take Ella's own suggestions as the actress herself. She made some suggestions to try and improve the dialogue and stuff like that. But again, I think if you go into this too late, you're not going to be able to bring it back to something that is authentic. So Balinska says that she actually invested in bringing Frey's journey of self-discovery to life. I think that works to some extent. It's definitely something like, oh, you throw this woman into a strange place and she's supposed to deal with it and come out of it on the other side and save everybody and stuff like that. But, you know, it's really clear in the game that Frey doesn't want to do any of that. She just wants to go home. So this article talks a little bit about that whole like Black women of the savior of humanity, savior trope thing like that. I won't get into that so much, but I would definitely tell you guys to give this article a read if you want to learn more about the performance and from the actress herself. The next article that I think you guys should check out is, again, Ella Balinska talking about her experience both in Forspoken and Resident Evil. And here, you know, they go into a little bit of detail about her life as a gamer and how she learned about the fact that she got the job as Frey. I think it's really cool how she was traveling with her PlayStation so she could play the games with a screen and stuff like that while she was traveling. Because she was like me. I used to travel with my PlayStation 4 in a suitcase, and it's pretty like annoying going through security and stuff. So she got a little gift for Christmas as a PlayStation 5 with a little screen that she could use. But yeah, she talks about how she was drawn to the character in this. And I think it's another good read. I like this because it's more about Ella as a gamer herself, why she enjoyed playing the role, talking a little bit about the role, talking about her favorite games. She's into Smash Brothers and Tekken and stuff like that. And then, of course, she talks about doing the motion capture for Forspoken while she was even filming the Resident Evil series for Netflix and stuff like that. She, you know, when it comes to the Resident Evil show, it was canceled after one season, but she's pretty proud of it. And I think I enjoyed it. I thought it was really cheesy as well, but I think it's not just down to her. I also liked the performance of Lance Reddick, the late great Lance Reddick. I think he did a great job with what he was given. And again, I'm the one, I mean, I've seen all of those modern Resident Evil films, like from Mila Jovovich all the way to this. So I definitely know that there are some good ones and there are some bad ones. And I would say that definitely this particular show was pretty crazy. I would definitely say, as I said before, I think she's pretty pragmatic about the thing. Do people get typecast perhaps for the types of roles they do? Maybe, but I don't know if that's going to be the case with her. We'll see what she does in her next performance. So the last article is this one, where Black Girl Gamers addresses their role in bringing this game to life. And I had actually read this article originally when it came out, but basically, you know, I was one of the people who was super duper excited to learn that Forspoken was going to be made. It was going to have a Black woman protagonist. It was going to have writing from Amy Hennig from my favorite video game series, Uncharted. Gary Ripa was also supposed to be involved. I don't know very much about him, but I think he did the script for Star Wars Rogue One. So it had a lot going for it at the beginning. But at the end, the end product left a lot to be desired, especially given the controversial way that the writers showed some of the poor choices that Frey made as a person, somebody who was in trouble with the law a lot, who was, pretty much homeless. And then, of course, that whole sequence where you have to play as her and she's in a burning building and there's a bag of money on the floor. And rather than pick up the bag of money and pick up her cat and escape, she leaves the bag of money there to burn. So that's like a really big thing for me. Watoza, welcome back to us. You are not welcome. I take it back. How do you come into my chat and now just add 18 deaths for no reason? Who are you? Who even are you? Everybody, I'm not trying to welcome Watoza, but I guess I have to just because. Wow, he is the Elder of Chaos. You guys, do not follow I Am Watoza. Don't follow him. Okay, don't follow him. This is not a shout out. This is actually because I have to make a command to say people do ignore this man. That's my ignore this man. That is my ignore this man command. So I'm not pleased with you. So I was just saying, Watoza, that I am sharing a couple of links about Forspoken from the actress herself, and I was just about to talk about Black Girl Gamer's involvement in the final stages of the game's production. So when I would definitely say that the game was really poorly marketed. Deaths at 1, maybe 3. Wow. I would say the marketing for the game was not very good. The gameplay trailers, I think, left a lot of people confused. But when it actually came to the game itself, people played the demo and were really concerned about the amount of dialogue between Frey and the cuff that she talks to. I don't think that's a problem. I think what the problem is the fact that the dialogue was really trying too hard. And I feel like that's because even the journalists, when they went to the first kind of preview of the game, they were also concerned about the way that the writers themselves were talking about this Black woman who's the star of their game, talking about how she has a hip-hoppy walk, and sounded like they had just a really weird stereotypes about the main character. So I think it wasn't until the developers were very late in the game and they received this kind of feedback that they now tried to course correct and bring in some experts apart from the actress herself to try and, make the character more authentic. The problem is, as you will read from this article on the Mary Sue, that they took too long to do that. They did it at the very end of the production cycle when it was really, there was no way for them to change the most important pieces where they had gone wrong. So this team had no Black writers at all, and they really didn't. They really show, the end product really shows that they didn't have a clue what it means to be an authentic Black woman character. So they actually, as I said, roped in Black Girl Gamers towards the end of their production, and Black Girl Gamers did, provide their consulting expertise to the team. But you'll see from their own thread here on X, they were hired as paid consultant, but by the time they became involved, it was really too late for them to make any meaningful change. So based on the timing, they had an opportunity to weigh in on the game, especially because this is like a really large AAA studio producing a game about fantasy game about a female protagonist who's Black. They provided as much consultation as they could, but by the time there's only so much that can be changed. So I suggest you guys take a look at their statement as well. Read this article. And I think this is a learning experience for all of these guys who are in this space to make much more of an effort. You can't leave this to chance. There are plenty of people who have the expertise that you need to bring in and hire them for your team. Why are you relying on consultants? Diversify your team from the ground up. And, don't say that the talent isn't there, because it is. Anyway, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. We're going to get into Forspoken and I'm going to be playing, I'm already in chapter 7. So I'm going to be playing some of the side missions and stuff like that. I think there are probably people who do want to play this game, so I'm trying to avoid spoilers and stuff, but I am trying to get the platinum. So I'll be playing late game stuff on the stream. If you do want to play the game, you feel like you don't want to stick around for the platinum playthrough, that's fine as well. For me, it's not a question of spending money. It's not a one-time spend. It speaks to how you build your team and how you develop your games at their core. Is your team inclusive? Is your team diverse? You will spend whatever it takes to hire the talent to integrate into your team. If you don't have a primary hiring plan to do that, then garbage in, garbage out. You basically have to build your team in a way that is going to make this possible and going to make this sustainable. Yeah, there were no Black writers. They're all white men in the writing room. Even Amy Hennig and Gary Ripa came out pretty soon into the, pretty early in the marketing of the game after it released, to say that they really didn't have much to do with the game after they were first announced with it. Yeah, diversity definitely wasn't a part of the goal. And it just has to be part of your operations now. People just have to get realistic. We're not going to be able to, if you want to sell your game, you're going to sell it to the population that's going to be buying it. The population is not just white males. So people have to get that through their head.